Finally, the moment a couple of you have been waiting for.
It's all like bing bong, Jack.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Duval and St. Johns County. The show for Jag fans by Jag fans.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
Here are your hosts, Franklin and Michael how you say it? DeZoba. Welcome to the Jaggernaut Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, that's right, guess who's back? Back again. Football! Football's coming back. This weekend, or this weekend, this Friday. Rookies report, man. It is the start of training camp. Football season's about to gear up. I'm excited. Based off what the team did last year, I'm hopeful. Yes, it's the first time I'm thinking, yes, we can do something. Frank, man,
First
how
time
you
in a
feeling?
long time.
First time in a long time.
I mean, I guess I get like this a little bit in the in the off season mode, you know, and then so I'm not quite up to speed yet. I need to sort of pull myself into the season, sort of.
That's what preseason's for. It's not for the players. It's not for the coaches. It's for the fans.
It's for the fans.
It's for the fans to get geared up. That's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be interesting to go to the training camp this time to see the team in the new Miller Electric Stadium. I didn't think much about it, but now that I think about the concept of going and seeing the team, you know, to sort of prime the pump for the season and go to training camp, it'll be cool to see it there, see what it's all about.
I concur, sir. I don't know if you're going to bring your son or not, but I did get 3 tickets and a park-in thing, so we should be good to go.
All right, yeah.
So, Frank, man, Evan Ingram, who told you wasn't worried? This guy. Why was I not worried? He wanted to be here. We wanted him here. The deal was going to happen.
I think I always have a tinge of the unexpected, especially with the Jaguars, but the NFL in general. So I wasn't worried, but I definitely am happy to see that he signed. I think that it's a good sign for the team. It's a good sign. You don't want to go into, I think maybe the biggest thing is it's not this looming, awkward concept that maybe is negative, or at least the media could spin into something negative, going into such a season of optimism.
Well, it's funny because one of the things I gleaned, he did not say, but I gleaned from reading in between the lines, is that he was going to play here on the franchise tag.
Right.
That's not what he wanted. He wanted money in a long-term deal.
Sure.
But if he didn't get it, he was happy playing here.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram is Duval. He is all in. I love that. I love the fact that he's back. Good job. We finally got a tight end who has come and contributed in a major way. We should expect him to contribute in a major way again. And I'm happy. I'm elated that we got that done. I think that he actually absolutely helps our offense.
I think a couple of things about what you just said. In regards to the contract, you know, him wanting to sign franchise tag, that makes all the sense in the world just economically, because he was on a prove it deal, and this is sort of, if it was a franchise tag, then he sort of is saying he proved it, and it would be all the worse next year if he did it again. So good, right. Somebody will sign him, you know, to a larger contract. I think I'm glad it was us. He fits here, like what you just said. Economic standpoint, I think I read that total amount of money he made in New York was like $16 million on his rookie contract. So he was slated to make 11 and change if he'd signed the franchise tag. So hey, I would have
That
signed it
still ain't bad,
too.
right? That
But
still ain't
now, as it
bad.
stands, he's got 24 million guaranteed, and I think it's like a 42 million total on 3 years. So I would look at that as like a 2-year contract, which is the way the league sort of works. They if they keep him a third year, it'll be probably be where they redo the contract type scenario. But yeah, I just think that it means a lot when you've got again the success that we had when we ended the season the way that we did. What 6 out of the last 8 games we won. Ingram a huge part of that. Tight end being a check valve, a go-to. I mean, Kansas City of all teams, the one that just won the Super Bowl, showing you how valuable a tight end is. And I think it means everything to the Jags. Not everything. I mean, you could do it without him, obviously, but I just think that it's such a benefit to have signed him. And there are others that say, okay, now we're freeing up the space, because I think now we drop down under the salary cap even further. I think it's like 22 million under the salary is what I heard. So we can go get the edge now. I'm not sure we'll do that. We may take the cap into the next year. I'm not sure what their plans are, but regardless, I think it offers them that flexibility for sure. If there's some player that has the value that they like and it doesn't stress the cap as much as it did, win win win.
All right. I agree. Win, win, win. That's all you need to do. Frank, Titans got stronger. They got D-Hop. What
Are
do you
you
think?
worried?
I ain't scared. Show me my opponent. Why would I be scared? I ain't scared. And here's the reason. So the Titans went out and essentially their triplets are Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and D-Hop. And when all healthy, all in the prime, that's a formidable triplets, right?
Yeah.
But the concept of the triplets hasn't been viable since the mid 90s, right? You had the Chicago Bulls running in basketball, and you had the Dallas Cowboys running it in the NFL. Okay. My question is, who's Daryl Johnson? Who on Tennessee is going to be Alvin Harper? You know, who are the second, third, fourth guys that absolutely need to kick in order for them to be a success? Tennessee has a lot going for it. They have a really good defense, and they've gotten younger on some areas of it. They have a beyond game manager quarterback, I will say, in Tannehill. He's not a game manager, but he's not elite. So I put him at a beyond game manager. Their offensive line is in flux, right? They got Derrick Henry, who until the wheels fall off, he's Derrick Henry. He is King Henry. So I don't know what else you want to say about that. Then they have DeAndre Hopkins. Who else do they have? They have nobody.
They have a good defense. I think that I will say this. I think the demise of the Titans is way overstated. I think that because the Jaguars have taken all the oxygen out of the AFC South room, I think that it leads to this idea that the Titans are dead. And I'm not sure that was true before the DeAndre Hopkins signing. And it certainly helps the case that they have a say about what happens this year for sure. But that was always going to be the case, and it doesn't really matter. So my thought is it doesn't really matter what this is a move. It made them better, yes, on paper, but they do have a history so far of retread receivers, and that hasn't worked out well. Is D-Hop better than,
Yes.
I don't know. Is he better than Julio Jones? Yes, slightly, but
yes. I mean, I would say at this point, yes, I would still put D-Hop definitely slightly above Julio Jones. Who did they bring in last year that ended up being a joke? They brought in some guy, and everybody
Robert
thought this
Woods?
guy was Robert Woods.
Yeah.
Dude didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and they
I
don't
didn't
have
understand
any.
the
They don't.
signing.
Yeah, they don't have a tight end. They don't have a second
No,
receiver.
they
They
do
don't
have a
really
tight
have.
end.
They don't really have a third. Not is it Travis Kelsey?
No. No,
Is it
they've
Evan
got a tight
Ingram?
end they like. He's got a weird name, Okachonu, or I forget how you say his name.
Okay, well, but again, so yeah, I'm not scared, but they are the Titans, and until they, much like Derrick Henry, until the wheels fall off, I'm not going to believe that they're ever beaten.
Well, I
So
think that it doesn't matter, right? Because you got to beat good teams, and
if you want to be, yeah, if you want
that's
to
just
be the
how it
man, you got
is.
to beat the man,
That's
right?
right. And then
That's
this is the
why I love the
NFL.
NFL. So on a just a side way, that's why I'm not a huge college guy. I'll watch college football because it's football, but you can be Alabama and you can run from Georgia the entire year and only have to face them when it absolutely matters. Right? You don't have to face them twice and then again in the playoffs. No. No, you can go play East East Minnesota Monroe. Woo! And people
I don't
love
think
it.
they exist.
People love it. And that's what I don't understand. It's not the best playing the best. It's oftentimes the best playing middle of the road, and
Yeah.
even really, really bad teams that they have no business playing. Anyway, that's why I love the NFL. I think to me, that's what makes the NFL great. That's why college football will never be great. It'll probably be great when you're 18, 19, 20 and go into these universities. But outside of that, I don't think it will ever be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So yeah, I mean, I think D Hop makes them better. How much? I don't know.
Well, and I think it's an interesting comparison too because they signed relatively close. I think it was one the next day. I think D Hop signed one day, and then Ingram reached. Of course, Ingram was going to be on the team, so it's not like there was a gap, and then it wasn't technically an acquisition by us per se. But I think when you look at the two teams or the two players, I think that my expectation is Ingram is more of a value to us than what Hopkins would be to them, only because and it could easily turn out to be the opposite of this. But the reason why I'm saying it this way now, edge to the Jags, is because of the fact that we know the commodity that we've got on our team. We don't have to see this new guy that we dragged. This isn't Julius Thomas that we go, oh, he was great with the Broncos. He's going to come in and be great for us. No, he was great for us last year with our quarterback and our scheme. How's Hopkins going to work in a Vrabel offense? I don't know the answer to that question. Now AJ Brown was good, so it's you can do that. You can definitely succeed, and Hopkins is definitely a talent. So we'll see how that works. It definitely helps them, but it doesn't matter what the Titans do because at the end of the day, they have to get past us, and we are an ascending team. It didn't matter, people can talk, and the Titans, fans do, they talk about their injuries. Well, it's like, hey, I don't know, get tougher. That's you got all these injuries. Maybe you guys have a problem. Is it just luck? I don't know. But, toughen up is what I would say. And, if you still got to go beat us, and we still have Trevor Lawrence. We've got to. It isn't about the Titans, I guess is my point. It's about the Jaguars at this point. We have a great team now, so
Right. It's
bring it.
How good can we be?
Right.
Can we beat you by 3? Can we beat you by 21? Right, how good can we be? And I think that's what it is. And I think there's a large portion of Jags fans that have felt that momentum shift. Now, I think you were part of this conversation on our Discord a little bit, where it was brought up that the reason why we won is for a play on defense and the fact that Tennessee had all those injuries and that we wouldn't really be good. So my question to you is, last year I set out, I think it was 4 different things that the Jaguars had to do to prove to me that they were at least an ascending team. And almost week by week, after week 6, week 7, it was boom, 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 boom. And then, it was always the Jags at that point. So my question is, Frank, to you, what makes a successful season for the Jaguars?
This coming up season?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about last year.
I think that we have to be. So the bar got raised last year. Last year, the bar was at a certain point. We surpassed that point, I would say, because we got into the playoffs. Last year, my goal was to be in contention. Well, we surpassed that. And it's fair to say that we got into the playoffs because the Titans slid down and made a way for us, but it doesn't matter. We went 6 out of 8.
Or we went and took it.
And no, we took it because that was also, remember, going into last year, when we looked at the schedule, we said we need to get a good bit of victories here somehow in the beginning, because that second half of the season is the worst part.
Brutal.
Well, that's the season. That's the part of the season that we went through and actually. I mean, think about the losses. The one loss was the Lions. That was the real bad anomaly. Everything else we lost to the Super Bowl champs barely. So it was just a good, solid season. I mean, everything you wanted to see. So, to your question, I think that I listened to just happenstance was on the listened to the radio. They were talking about just general teams and betting and lines. And one of the things that came up was the guy the expert was asked about his thought on the Jags. Unprompted, the guy said, it's not a bad bet to bet them to be the team that has the most wins this year. Unprompted, that's what he said. He goes, I'm high on the Jags. And part of it is understanding football, understanding, this team is ascending. This team doesn't have tons of holes. The holes that we have are manageable. The lower tier players in certain starting spots, they're manageable. We have quarterback coach combination. And the biggest thing in regards to his point, I think that he was making, and I think he did make this, I think most people do, the schedule is not on paper a tough schedule. So that being said, I think to be a successful season, no injuries, no ridiculous injuries, I think 10 wins or more is expected. So my bar is 10. That's the very. I'm actually looking for around 12. I wouldn't call it a negative season if they got 10, because the ball bounces. There's things that happen. This is the NFL, but I say 10. If they go lower than 10, it's not a good season, I think.
And for me, it's AFC South or bust. We repeat. If we're the team that we want to be, that we think we are, the AFC South is still one of the worst, if not the worst division in football.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're the team we think we are, we run it back to back. We're again AFC South. And we can do it with 9 victories. Okay. Fine. We can do it with 10. We can do it with 11. To me, it isn't got to be a blowout, but you have to be the AFC South champion at the end. Right. And to me, that was a successful season. And to me, that would show that we have sort of arrived on the scene.
Right.
To where as long as we have Peterson, as long as we have Trevor Lawrence, as long as we have these weapons, watch out.
Yeah. Year in, year out. This is a team that
so
is to be.
Again, it's exciting. It's a great, exciting time to be a Jags fan. If you're not a Jags fan, what the hell are you doing? Get on board.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know if you saw that tweet that was going around. I think I did post that on Discord, where it was showing the analytics guy chimed in with his. I think he said they were very successful in baseball. I don't know. It might not be translating right, because they had the Titans taking the AFC South, and that wasn't the most egregious thing. Again, I can see somebody saying that. But they had the Jags being the last team in the South.
Right. Did they have us like 6 wins?
this is garbage in, garbage out at this point, I think, fellas.
And I think didn't they have us at like 6 wins? I think it was six
Yeah, I
wins.
think it was six
With
wins.
with
Yes.
the Texans, I think having 7. The Colts had something else, and then it was Tennessee by like a large margin.
Oh, yeah.
So what that tells me, that and the fact that the guy didn't say how he arrived, he just said, "Look at these major MLB analytics," tells me that it was just garbage. He's a troll looking to start shit. It's funny,
Right.
but so I'll give him that. It was funny, and it had people like you posting it. I'd have been like, "Oh, this is trash."
Well, it was
Yeah.
trash, but I, one of the things that I thought was I was actually refreshed to see it. I'll be honest with you because I wanted to. I get a little nervous with all the
When people are talking about
yeah,
us.
all the positive talk. I want somebody like this. I'm like, yes, show. I want Peterson to show. You know, I want this a little bit to be locker room. I don't want these guys sitting on their laurels in any sort of way. Like it's in their mind somewhere that
They're
oh,
great.
cruise
Oh,
control.
We've arrived.
Yeah, I don't want that
and
at
I get
all.
that, and I do get that, but that doesn't seem to bother good teams.
Right.
So again, if we fall off our high horse, which again, it's completely possible. But if we do, we probably were not that good of a team to begin with, and maybe everybody else was right. Maybe it was injuries that actually led the way to us doing that. Maybe. I don't think so. And until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
Well, injuries got in the way of the Titans clinching, but it didn't get in the way of us taking it. So the Titans had injuries had no bearing on us beating the Cowboys, beating the Ravens, doing everything that we did that year and ascending to where we got. And the thing too is that I think the microcosm for it is if you look at the Chargers playoff game, it's that sort of concept where, and this is why I think that as bad as it is to throw 4 interceptions, it does show something about the quarterback, the team, the coach, the mentality, which is this doesn't look like the type of team that is going to be out. In other words, mentally, they're not going to beat themselves, which is the type of team that wins consistently. So once you get the consistent players and the familiarity with the scheme, the mentality appears to be there to get going in a consistently winning fashion. And so what you should see is you should start to see some other things start to tick. The expectation, maybe more sacks come, maybe, better linebacker play. Then all of a sudden you're talking about a team that is really a contender. It isn't just, we got to contend with Peterson and Trevor and then Calvin Ridley on the outside and all the, all of a sudden you got a full team, special teams, defense. And the defense came alive in the second half of that season too. So, and maybe that is something to think about. To change gears a little bit, one of the things that I thought of too, or not, one of the things that came out when Evan Ingram signed was it put a big old exclamation point on the fact that Saquon didn't get signed, Josh Jacobs didn't get signed, Tony Pollard didn't get signed, and you see in the social media sphere the current and even former running backs almost, they're really upset about this. Almost it like they're demanding to know why. What say you about this? When you see that, what are your thoughts?
Personally, it's easy. It's completely easy. So you basically have two things to blame. You have the quarterback position to blame, and then you have the focus the NFL is putting on the passing game.
Yeah.
It has been said for years, this is becoming a passing league. This is becoming a passing league. This is becoming a passing league. The workhorse 3-down backs, they're no longer viable. If you have one, great. It's great, but you don't need one. You know
Yeah.
what you need? You need 2 or 3 running backs that can do slightly different things, and that's what you run with. And they're cheap.
Yeah.
They're cheap because you're paying your quarterback $256 million.
Yep.
So you no longer have that money. This is the first domino. This is not the end. Linebackers may be next because it's like, oh, well, we may need more hybrid safeties. You know, we're no longer tackling these 300-pound dudes. You know, we're tackling these lighter guys, or we're tackling
Slot
Debo.
receivers.
Yeah, we're
Or
tackling Debo coming out of the backfield.
yeah,
You
that's a good
know,
point.
so they can get mad all they want to. The truth is that it's just an evolution of the game, and it's the way the game is going. Does it suck to be a running back? Unless you're Christian McCaffrey, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, those type of running backs, they're going to be the next one to command the decent money, not the bigger, stronger bowl you over backs, but the scat fast. I'm catching 90 balls a season. Those guys are going to be the guys that command the money. Saquon is not that. Josh Jacobs is not that. They're really, really great and talented running backs. They just may be at the wrong time in the NFL. So they can get mad all they want to,
Yeah.
but that's the way it's going. I mean, if you go around and you look at running backs, every team is getting 2, 3, 4 different type of running backs, and they're all sort of similar. You know, they can all catch the ball at the back. That they all have different levels of speed. Some are more power guys. Some are, but they're paying them what? Maybe an average of 2 million. For each dude. So you're talking about 8 million versus paying one guy, Saquon, right? 14 or 15 million. And we all saw what happened to the Giants offense when Saquon was hurt.
Right. Yeah, I think that you nailed a lot of that. I think that the quarterback position is sort of a gleaming way to compare, because if you think about the quarterback backup. I mean, for the most part, you don't want that guy to touch the field. And a lot of the guys are there because they're kind of like coaches in a way. That's why they're there. They're to hold the clipboard, and they're to give the hot shot actual QB so a different sideline perspective. When the coach is busy, he knows so and so is going to go with the clipboard. And the reason why I bring that up is the rules are there to protect the quarterback and to help the quarterback move the ball.
Succeed. Yes, succeed.
They're not there to protect the running back. They're not there to help the running back move the ball. And it's unfortunate for the running back, but that's just the way that it's set up right now. And teams are understanding this and moving into this space. So the backup running back is hugely important. He's really not even the backup. He's a starter. And on most teams, your backup running back plays, 25% of the offensive snaps. You even have a lot of teams that have a third running back. You'll have your primary, your backup that spells the primary, and then your third down scat back utility guy. We got
and maybe
that.
even a goal line guy.
A goal line. I mean, and it's like you can't pay all these guys.
That
If
is
you
correct.
if you look at the quarterback room, one guy out of that room is starting, and it will hit the field. If you look at the running back room, four are hitting the field, at least, right?
Yeah.
5 might be ready on game day when you start adding special teams and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it's just the way that it is, and it's interesting because you think about, like you brought up the Cowboys. This isn't the 90s Cowboys, I think you brought up the threesome. I think you brought up the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's no the team the the league has evolved. There's no more Emmitt Smiths, and even if there were, like Saquon is, of course, that caliber back, but teams are not leaving themselves vulnerable like that because, again, the rules aren't set up to protect Saquon from being injured. And if you focus your whole offense around your running back, and this as talented as Saquon is, let's just say he's miles away talented, more talented than the guy behind him. Fine. When he goes down and your offense is geared around having that talent, you're screwed. Now, that happens with the quarterback, but there's nothing you can do about that. But you can hedge your bets when it comes to the running back by having an offense focused around a quarterback that's already getting protection from the rules. And, you know, the truth is that Emmitt Smith, even in his prime, I mean, is he the best running back ever?
I think he had certain aspects. You know,
Definitely. He's
it
one
was,
of the best ever for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think it was where he played, when he played. You know, I mean, there are all kinds of good running backs throughout history. Some were fast, some were big, some were powerful, some were all three, some could catch.
Yeah.
You know, it just really depended on where you were. So I think that helped Emmett too. But yes, he's one of the better backs in the NFL. But now he wouldn't get paid like you know. I mean, that's all I'm saying, because you don't focus on that anymore. That time in the game is gone. It's moved. Right. And running backs are pissed off because they haven't seen it. I don't know why you haven't seen it. If you didn't watch what happened with Le'Veon Bell, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Remember, what's popped into my head is you remember Mike Shanahan when he was with the Redskins. He traded Clinton Portis in his prime for Champ Bailey. You remember that?
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh no, wait, I'm sorry." He was with the Broncos.
Yeah, he was with
Portis,
the Broncos,
and he took Bailey from the Redskins. And people, you know, at that time, it was a little bit of a head scratcher. It seemed like an equitable trade, but Shanahan knew I could do it with somebody else. I don't have another Champ Bailey on an island. And it shows you right there, that trade, he was ahead of the curve in understanding the value of the running back is no longer what it was, even back then. That was late 90s or early 2000s. I forget when that was, early 2000s. So, I mean, look, it is what it is. And I think they know. I just think that they're doing what everybody does. They're sort of like, you know, they were great at running backs when they were, you know, Pee Wee League and middle school, high school. I mean, they just kept at it because, of course, they would. They're amazing. You get to the league, you're drafted as a running back. I mean, Saquon is as good of a running back as most of the quarterbacks in the league, but he ain't never going to get paid like that. And even in that, even if you, it just sucks. I mean, it is what it is, and there's no way else to explain it. But I just thought it was interesting to touch on that because this is something that's come up, and it is the complexion of the game, and it sucks for the running backs, and I don't know if there's anything that they can do about it. But
and there may not be, but this isn't going to be the first time that this is going to happen, where a position that used to be a star position fades.
Yeah. Well, think about the old school middle linebacker with the thing in the back, and
the thumper.
Yeah.
The thumper. You know, while that's still there in some capacity, I bet that diminishes it for more guys that can cover.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. You're sort of saying, hey, it's how the game works and making a prediction. Look at that position. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it does that. So I like that take. So, all right. Well, I think we covered everything I wanted to cover. You got anything else you want to?
I have nothing, sir, except for happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
It's a few days early, but happy birthday, brother.
Well, if you guys want to chime in and comment, like, share, and all the stuff that you're supposed to say to try to get people to do it. We
Does get
appreciate
old
your
after a while.
patronage, and if you stuck it out with us so far, hopefully that means you like the content and you're not just being sympathetic and or you just forgot and left it on and walked away.
We'll take it either way.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You don't have to listen.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'll take it.
Absolutely.
And on that note, guys, thank you for joining us tonight.
Duval!
Bye, guys.